Yo, what's up? I'm going to be picking the fight between Max Holloway and Dustin Poirier. Their third fight, the trilogy, on July 18th, UFC 318 in New Orleans. We're going to be seeing if Max goes either 2-1 or Dustin Poirier beats him and goes 3-0 against him. So, firstly, we're going to be talking about Max Holloway. We're going to be talking about his advantages. Right off the bat, I think the advantages Max Holloway has is his overall kicking game. I would say he has way better leg kicks. I would say he has good spinning back kicks. I would say that move has become more prominent recently. I would say his knee stomps are pretty good, as we saw against Ilya. I would say his body kicks are good as well. We saw that in their second fight. But yeah, he's been using it more. I would say overall he's been using his leg kick, his kicking game more, and I think it's good because he's been utilizing his arsenal. I would say his footwork has improved. I would say in their second fight he was just kind of just throwing. He looked very sloppish in his striking. But in this fight, his angles and his footwork has improved a lot. I would say it's become very prominent, even though he lost these fights against Volkanovski and TKZ and Justin Gaethje in the Ilya Topuria fight. All those fights have showcased his footwork improvement. I would say also, like I just said, his angles while finding shots and combos. I would say it's improved a lot. I would say he's more precise now, even though he still leaves his chin out. I would say he's way more precise than he was 5 years ago. I would also say that at 155 at least, he looks a little more agile, and that's possibly due to less of a harsh weight cut. I think Max Holloway is he's younger, he's closer to his prime, so I would say he still looks more fluid. He's 33. I would say Max Holloway also has a better chin, even though we saw him get knocked out in his last fight. I don't think it's gonna play too much of a factor in this fight. Obviously, I could see him getting rocked because he did get rocked in their second fight, and that was at 155. But we'll get to that later. I would say, honestly, if you were to stay at 145, I could see him getting fluke KO'd by someone like Gene Silva or Diego Lopez. They hit really hard. But since he's moved up to 155, he's doing less of a harsh weight cut. He's taken 9 months off. I would assume that he took the proper precautions to fully heal up after that knockout. So I think he's going to come into the fight fine. I mean, as we saw when Dustin Poirier got knocked out by Justin Gaethje in their second fight, he took 9 months off and he came back against BSD and looked fine. As we saw against Volkanovski when he got head kicked by Islam Makhachev in their second fight, he came back 4 months later. I mean, and he got KO'd by Ilya Topuria. I know some may say Ilya Topuria would KO any version of Volkanovski, but coming back on a 3 month turnaround at the minimum is never a good idea, especially after getting almost colded out. But I would say another advantage Max Holloway has is he has great stand up from a takedown. He has great stand up defense. When he gets taken down sometimes, but he gets up immediately. He has good stand up from the bottom base. I would say Max Holloway has less injuries. He's not as battle damaged as I would say a Dan Hooker or a Dustin Poirier. We haven't really heard at least many injuries coming from Max Holloway's side. I would say Max Holloway has better cardio, especially that was showcased in the Justin Gaethje fight at UFC 300. I would say Dustin Poirier has a he gasses out a lot. I would say so. That was primarily highlighted in the Islam fight. I would say Max Holloway's volume striking is going to play a big factor into this fight as well. I think that I could see him backing up Dustin against the fence. I would say it's going to be there's going to be too much pressure at times, so I think his volume striking is a lot better. I would say his disadvantages, though, would be that Dustin Poirier, or Max Holloway has a lack of head movement. I would say it's improved a little bit, but we still saw hints that it hasn't improved that much. In his last fight against Ilya Topuria, he would still leave his head on the center line, and that was what led up to the KO. The cross that Ilya threw, it hit Max Holloway, and he didn't move his head at all. And he also left his hands down a lot, so I could see Dustin Poirier clipping him a few times with that. But then again, Dustin Poirier is not Ilya Topuria. I would say that another disadvantage Max Holloway has. He has bad calf kick defense. Dustin Poirier throws a lot of calf kicks, so I could see him slowly weathering down Max Holloway. But I don't think it's gonna affect him too much. Max Holloway has dealt with this a lot against Alexander Volkanovski, against Dustin Poirier, against Ilya Topuria. It didn't really seem to affect him. He kind of just tanks it. And this is going to be kind of confusing, but I would say Max Holloway is good against the clinch. Even that's also a weakness, to be honest. He gets clipped a lot, but he also clips a lot in the clinch. So I would say it's a disadvantage and an advantage. So moving on, we have Dustin Poirier. I would say Dustin Poirier's advantages. Now, before I go into this, I'm gonna sound like I'm just biased towards Max Holloway, but I'm not. I just honestly think I have Max Holloway as a lock. I'm gonna try to be as non-biased as possible, but Dustin Poirier's advantages. I would say his pure boxing is way better. He's a better striker. He's a better boxer. I would say his combos, his jab, his cross, his hooks, they're a lot better than Max Holloway's, and I would say he has more power. And I would say what primarily is good about his boxing combos, I would say his wide hooks. Even though he overextends a little bit, his wide hooks are really good, and it catches people a lot. It caught BSD, it caught Max Holloway a few times in their second fight. It didn't catch Islam that much, but he did catch Islam with a jab cross setup. I would say obviously he has better power, and I think this is always going to be the case. I mean, we saw in their second fight that he was like rocking Max Holloway the whole time. I think he rocked him like a good 4 times in that fight. I would say that Dustin Poirier has a slightly better boxing defense. I would say he has like a modified Philly shell. He backs up a lot, and he swifts his way out of combos and punches. So I would say his boxing defense is a little better. I would say he's a little more evasive when it comes to boxing punches. I would say he has better takedowns than Max Holloway. Max Holloway's never been the one to really take people down, but I would say overall, Dustin Poirier has better takedowns. He's taken down Connor. He's taken down Max Holloway. He's taken down a lot of people. I would say going back to my point about Max Holloway. I would say he has better striking in the clinch. In their second fight, he had Max Holloway pushed up against the fence and would throw a lot in the clinch, and it would clip Max Holloway since he would leave his head on the center line. So Dustin Poirier's disadvantages. Dustin Poirier is obviously older. He's 3 years older. He's 36, going on to 37. I would say Dustin Poirier is battle damaged. He has a lot He has a lot of injuries. In his last fight, he went in with broken hips. He's had hip surgery. He's very stiff. He cuts open easily. I would say Dustin Poirier is not as agile, and he's stiffer in his movement. Especially in that last Islam fight, in the BSD fight, he looked really off. I don't know how to explain it, but he looked slow. When he was retracting from his punches, it was really slow as well. I'm gonna be honest. I think he's just getting older. His reaction time has slowed down a lot as well. Slower reaction time. I would say he has a small range of tools from the kicking game. He doesn't use that many kicks besides maybe the body kick once in a while, and he does use the calf kick a lot though, which I think he will do against Max Holloway. I would say when Dustin Poirier gets pressured, he kind of covers up against the fence. We saw that in their second fight when Max Holloway threw a few combos. We saw that against Islam as well, which eventually led to a takedown. We saw that against Justin Gaethje. So I would say he has a bit of a problem against pressure. He covers up against the fence against, I would say, volume pressure. So my narratives for the fight. I think that Dustin, he's 2-0. Oh, this is one narrative. Dustin is 2-0. He will always have Max's number. Max was a tadpole in their first fight. Also, it was Max's first fight in the UFC. In their second fight, Max wasn't properly bulked up. Max had about 1.5 months to properly bulk up. The fight was announced 1.5 months after the pullout, and he only had a month and a half to properly bulk up. And he was also coming off a 3-month turnaround against Brian Ortega, which I would say he took a fair amount of damage in that fight. So I would say that wasn't peak full health Max Holloway. I would say he was damaged. He didn't have a proper bulk. He looked kind of pudgy in the second fight. And I would say Max had enough competitive moments, enough to where he had a path to beat Dustin. As we saw in the fight, it was fairly competitive. I honestly would say it was 49-46, but it was fairly competitive. There are instances where Max can definitely improve on, or where he can put more energy into beating Dustin. So I would say that's gonna play a big factor into this fight. This is another narrative. Dustin was outstriking and landing the more significant strikes. While that is true, Max Holloway has also improved significantly, while Dustin has relatively stayed the same, maybe with some minor improvements. I would say Dustin's game hasn't evolved too much. It's evolved a little bit, especially we saw that against Connor. But I would say ever since the Connor fight, his striking has stayed pretty much the same. His style has stayed the same. He hasn't really evolved. Whereas Max Holloway, he's had to evolve. He had to evolve against Volkanovski. He changed his style from boxing to Muay Thai Max. As Volkanovski says, I would say his takedown defense has improved a lot. I would say his physicality has improved a lot as well. I would say overall, Max Holloway has improved his striking game. He's gained more power. He's gained more muscle. He's adjusted to styles better. He has better game planning. You know, a better variety of kicks, and has become more evasive to slipping strikes. The only thing that I don't think Max Holloway has improved much upon is his head movement. You know, he still has his head out to get clipped. So overall, Max Holloway has improved more significantly than Dustin Poirier has. This is my own narrative. So as of recently, Max has had more impressive wins, I would say. You can debate whether the competition is the same level or not, but his last wins or his last few fights were Arnold Allen. It was a competitive fight, but he definitely showcased his striking, and he did look more powerful in that fight. I would say the Korean Zombie, even though Korean Zombie was a little old, he did showcase his striking. Yeah, his shot selection was really good. That's what led up to the KO. Even though he lost against Ilia Topuria, I would say that was actually an underrated performance. He did the best out of the three, which would be Volkanovski himself and Oliveira. He did the best out of the three. He was actually clipping up Topuria, and he was being evasive. He was using his wide set of variety of tools. He did pretty good against Yair Rodriguez, although that was a war. And Justin Gaethje, honestly, I think he dominated Justin Gaethje. I think it was 5-0. I think that fourth round, the knockdown shouldn't really give Gaethje the round. You know, Max Holloway was doing well against Ilya. He had success in the striking exchanges. He also looked fluid and evasive when he was striking. He dominated Gaethje. However, at the time, actually wait, Dustin Poirier's last performance, they've been good. You know, he did good against BSD, but can you really use that fight as an example? Because BSD was barely ranked, and they were kind of throwing him against in with the Wolves. I would say in the Islam fight, although it was, I don't to be honest, I don't think it was competitive. I think Dustin gave Islam some moments of adversity. I don't think Dustin's last few fights are as impressive as Max Holloway's last few fights. Against Justin Gaethje in their second fight, he was getting outstruck in the first round, and he eventually got KO'd. He was unable to land many shots. He was just pressuring and unable to land. I would say Justin Gaethje was landing more shots. Against Benoit Saint Denis, Dustin struggled in the first round heavily, and I don't think Dustin was messing around in that fight. I think he was genuinely struggling. And obviously, he found the KO because of BSD's defensive flaws, but he was struggling in that first round. And although the Michael Chandler fight, Dustin Poirier won that, I would say he was fairly competitive, which I wouldn't think that's such a good look against Michael Chandler, especially. So my overall prediction, I think the first round is going to start off with both fighters at mid-distance. I think they're going to be feeling each other out. They're going to be throwing boxing combos. They're going to be feeling out the round. I think both fighters will land, but as we've seen recently, Dustin has lost most of the first rounds. For example, Islam, BSD, and Gaethje. I think Max will land slightly more body kicks, jabs, and side hooks to the body, and spinning back kicks / body kicks. And I think Max will win the first round by 10-9. Although it will be a feeling out process in that round for both sides. I think the second round, as the round begins, there will be more striking, and it will start to pick up the action. I think Max slowly moves Dustin against the fence and throws volume combos and exits the pockets. However, I can see Dustin landing counter hooks against the fence, which will lead to a slightly rocked Max. Maybe a possible knockdown. I think Dustin chases and throws D+ combos that have 1 to 2 punches landed. I can see this scenario playing out twice. So due to this, I'm going to have to give Dustin the edge. I think he will win by 10-9, but I think it'll be a close round. I think during the break, Max Holloway makes adjustments due to his coach's advice. And I think he will begin keeping his distance with kicks, knee stomps, body kicks, and leg kicks. And honestly, I think this is going to really deteriorate Dustin Poirier very quickly. I think Max Holloway slowly gains striking volume and begins to slowly break down Dustin. He slows down due to the body kicks and the jabs. That's what I see happening. I see a possible takedown attempt from Dustin, but I don't really know if he would do that since it's his last fight and he wants to go out in entertaining fashion. I think Max Holloway defends the takedown if it does happen, and I think he breaks free from the fence and breaks free from the clinch as well. And I would say it's a close round from both. However, I think Max wins by 10-9. The fourth round, I would say, is the most important round. I think this is where the most action happens. At this point, I think Max is going to start to gain a lot of striking momentum. I think he's going to start piecing up Dustin Poirier at range, and he's going to blitz into the pocket every few 30 to 60 seconds. I can see him throwing spinning back kicks, jabs and combos and hooks and uppercuts. I think if he throws a 4-piece combo, for example, I think 2 out of those 4 will land. I think Dustin Poirier is going to start opening up due to cuts and will start to slow down significantly. I think Dustin might land some punches, but the majority of the round will be on the back foot for Dustin Poirier. I think Max Holloway wins that by 10-9. I think this round is going to really show Dustin Poirier's cardio starting to slow down and the damage really starting to show. I think in round 5, Dustin has taken a significant amount of damage, and it will play into Max's striking game. I can see them both pointing down as the round starts, and both of them will begin to try to throw volume. I think Max Holloway lands more strikes and gains an extreme amount of momentum midway through the round. And my official prediction, Max Holloway has gained a lot of striking momentum in the 5th round, and I think it will wear down Dustin significantly. Dustin will have open gashes, it will be heavy breathing. I think Max will back up Dustin against the fence and probably TKO him. I don't think Dustin goes out cold, but I think it's gonna be a volume, a cumulative TKO. I think while Dustin is on the back foot. So my official prediction is Max Holloway TKO in the 5th round from the 3rd minute to the late 4-minute round. So honestly, I'm pretty hyped for this fight. I love both of these fighters, but to be honest, I think as of recent, I think Max Holloway has had the better performances. I think he's upgraded his game a lot since their last fight. I think Dustin Poirier has stayed somewhat stagnant. The main reason I'm favoring Max so much is because Dustin Poirier's age is starting to show a lot. I think he looks, a lot stiffer. He looks a little older, and I just think Max Holloway is closer to his prime. I wouldn't say he's in his prime, but he's closer to his prime. And another reason I kind of want Max to win is because I think it would be better for the sport. Because if Dustin wins, he's just gonna retire. What's gonna happen with Max? I mean, who's he gonna fight? Rafael Fiziev, Dariush? It just doesn't make sense. I think Max Holloway winning is better for the sport. So thank you. Let me know what you guys think.